Shrek is a damn near perfect movie. That might be surprising to hear because when one thinks of a perfect movie, Shrek typically isn't at the top of the list. But just think about it. What makes a perfect movie? Well, in my opinion, it's a culmination of things. The plot, pacing of the movie, characters, themes, how it's made, and its soundtrack. And Shrek has a fantastic soundtrack. They're all factors that go into a great or perfect movie. Believe it or not, Shrek has been out for over 20 years now. The movie had been so long in the making at DreamWorks that the late Chris Farley was originally intended to voice the Jolly Green Ogre. All that work has paid off. The movie was amazing to look at, especially for 2001. No animated being has ever moved, breathed, or had its skin crawl quite as convincingly as Shrek. And yet the movie doesn't look like a reprocessed version of the real world. It's all made up right down to, or up to, well, Shrek. And the plot. The plot involves Lord Farquaad's desire to wed the Princess Fiona, and his reluctance to slay the dragon that stands between her and the would-be suitors. He hires Shrek to attempt the mission, which Shrek is happy to do, providing the loathsome fairy tale creatures are banished and its swamp returned to its dismal solitude. On his mission, Shrek is joined by a donkey named Donkey, whose running commentary, voiced by Eddie Murphy, provides some of the movie's funniest moments. The expedition to the castle of the princess involves a suspension bridge above a flaming abyss, and the castle's interior is piled high with the bones of the dragon's previous contenders. When Shrek and Donkey get inside, there are intense action scenes of Shrek escaping with the princess, and revelations about the dragon that no one could have guessed. And all along the way, we get puns and jokes and countless references to other movies. Shrek's wonderful final twist is something of a rude gesture directed at that ending, as true love's form is revealed. I love it. It feels earned and it feels genuine, because the movie isn't sugar-coated, and because it embraces the idea that love might actually be blind. It doesn't follow the typical love story that ends with two very beautiful people, although let's face it, Shrek is pretty hot. But that ending alone is a thing of beauty. It makes the film worthwhile. In fact, I love the way that the movie deals with the traditional damsel in distress role we associate with these sorts of fairy tales. And just think about it. The story makes a lot of sense within the world that Shrek establishes, and each element flows seamlessly into the next. Lord Farquaad wants a perfect kingdom free of fairy tale creatures, which leads to Shrek getting involved, which leads to an epic quest, which leads to an epic romance, which leads to a heartwarming resolution. It takes your classic fairy tale and turns it on its head. The monster becomes the hero, and the princess and the monster fall in love. The audience is taken on an adventure from scene to scene. The pacing itself is great throughout. You never once feel bored or like a plot point isn't developed enough. And every scene is the exact length it should be.
No! Layers! Onions have layers. Ogres have layers. Onions have layers.
In addition to all the jokes that permeate just about every scene in the film, Shrek also had its fair share of serious moments. It is in these moments that truly important messages shine through. The most significant of these is that no one is ever as they seem. A message that was driven home through multiple arcs in the story. The most obvious of these is that Shrek himself is persecuted and hated, for no reason other than the fact that he is big, scary, and ugly. On the inside, he is kind, and you can tell that he is hurting from his constant loneliness. Fiona, the beautiful, gracious princess, also has this secret that she becomes an ogre every night. The point is driven home that this does not make her deserving of baseless hatred or abuse, and even the dragon, who seems to be a terrifying monster, is just another person looking for companionship, which she found with Donkey. Now with the music, because every track in this entire movie is pretty amazing. Not only do the tracks perfectly capture the mood of the scenes they're used in, but they're also so much fun to listen to. Pretty much any song used in the movie is instantly recognizable as being in Shrek. Back then, if you heard it on the radio, you'd be like, oh cool, that's the song from Shrek. And there are very few movies that provide that immediate recognition with their soundtrack. Right from the opening tune of Smash Mouth's All-Star, you know this is going to be a movie that'll suck you in and captivate you. Who doesn't get nostalgic when they hear I'm a Believer? Usually movies have at least one song where you kind of wish the scene would hurry up and be over because you're sick of hearing it, but not Shrek. Each and every note is perfect, and that's a rarity that speaks to the timeless perfection that DreamWorks created. The point of this video is, Shrek's domination didn't get to the stage by being an undeserving hit, some cheesy kids film that just happened to get lucky. It got to this place by being a stone-cold swampy classic, a film where the unlikeliest misfits get their chance to be heroes. It's wit, it's animation, and it's the uncanny blend of fairy tale folklore and pop culture that made it to the kind of phenomenon that our generation will be excited to show our kids and get them to love it as much as we do. And the memes. We can't forget about the memes.